The history of Iran is a history of instability. Rapid changes in social concepts and values have also transformed the image of Iranian life. Iranian cinema possessed no better tool than set design in order to recreate the past and record the present. Cinema in Iran took its first steps some 120 years ago with the arrival of the first cinematograph to the heart of Tehran's palaces. About 5 years later, after passing through a sprouting period in the Qajar court, and with the influx of modernity from the West, Iranian cinema was born in the Pahlavi era.
Le goût de la cerise, réalisé par Abbas Kiarostami.
When Abbas Kiarostami held the Palme d'Or in his hands, this cinema was over 90 years old. And on the day Asghar Farhadi won his first Oscar, it had been more than a century since the silver screen had hosted the gaze of Iranian cinema passing through the cinematograph. Today, after so many years, there is no major and prestigious award that Iranian cinema has not attained. But that is not the whole story. It's natural that Iranian cinema, due to the dimensions of distance and, of course, the vision of cinema as a souvenir from France, is more indebted to the curious and documentary vision of the Lumière brothers than the heritage of classic American studio cinema. For this reason, Iranian cinema has been more of a lover of reality than having the ambition to create fantasy. The domain of set design has also not been unaffected by this historical influence, creating the visual world of films and transforming Farsi words into cinema, before engaging in playing with color palettes and building sets in film studios, first encountered the heavy shadow of existing realities. Struggling against these realities and atmospheres and attempting to change or represent them became part of the visual identity of Iranian cinema that was created by set designers. Let's take a look at the history of Iranian set design in 3 sections to see how different approaches in set design's confrontation with Iran's geography, climate, architecture and homes, and history as 3 undeniable realities were able to make the texture of Iranian cinema different from other examples in the world. Geography and climate play a greater role in the inner mystical Iranian mentality than just environmental concepts. Confronting a 4-season climate full of metaphor has shaped culture, rituals, and beliefs of Iranians. In addition to that, movement from the shores of the Caspian Sea to the southern borders of Iran itself is a metaphor for an up and down journey. From the velvety green adorning the slopes of the Alborz mountain and the rebellious youth of the Zagros mountains, to the earthy color of the Kavir desert and the red and white shores of the Persian Gulf. They have an undeniable presence in the cinematic frame of the Iranian filmmaker. It can be argued that the most prominent Iranian films, or more precisely the most prominent set designers in Iranian cinema, have been and still are dependent on the cultural context influenced by climate and geography. Iranian cinema has turned climate into the scene of its set design, which demonstrates the intelligence of set designers throughout the history. For instance, in A Dragon Arrives, nowhere but Qeshm Island, with its geological structure and geographical location, could have hosted the three curious strangers, and anywhere other than this climate would have certainly rejected that abandoned ship. So not only the storytelling and characterization, but the directing depends enormously on the set designer's choice of where the movie should be set. This exchange between the details of set design and the whole storyline, influenced by the film's world, goes beyond visual and formal functions and enters the realm of metaphor and linguistics. In Atabay, for instance, a decaying lake and the abandonment of a dock become the storyteller of a personal downfall and create an image of the loneliness of human beings. On the other hand, we are faced with a sort of organic filmmaking, like The Wind Will Carry Us, with its painting-like landscapes that brings the mystic vastness of undiscovered lands to the silver screen. Natural designs that have no designers. Traveling from northern Iran towards the central plateau, and presence in the desert areas of Iran gives this cinematic texture a brand new color palette, where the discovery and intuition in nature and in winding mountain paths changes to inner excavation and reflection in a philosophical void. The presence of this natural geographical texture in Iranian cinema, which relies on the fundamental actions of the set designer, can provide the potential to create 135-minute long sequence shots, like Fish and Cat. The influence of climate and geography in set design goes so far that the set designer can be called the primary director of the film, who, even before the author, has created the visual structure of the film. The possibility of free movement of the camera in a natural path on a spiral of time is exactly what we would call a gift of nature. A gift transferred by the set designers to the public. As we said before, climate and geography do not have just visual functions, and by being woven into the warp and weft of the film, they also gain metaphorical functions. A little stranger born in the war-torn southern regions of Iran gets lost in the heart of a northern village. His connection with a woman from the lineage of paddy fields, sea and jungle eternalizes an accurate image of Iran during the 8-year war. Light the candle. Don't be satisfied with the feeble light of the bubble. The Iranian home is considered a heaven. So any insecurity in it generates drama. The home in Iranian cinema, according to lived experience of Iranians, builds a boundary between outside and inside, a boundary between private and public, a boundary between house and courtyard, a boundary between courtyard and street, a boundary between the heaven of home and the chaotic bazaar, a boundary between life and politics. And watching the interaction and conflict between the two sides of the border is also like traveling in the Iranian climate. It has a cinematic structure in itself. These same features have caused the Iranian home to be a path to access the intellectual and cultural interiority of Iranians, because people's inner and personal world is not necessarily consistent with their outer and apparent representations. Set design in Iranian cinema has been able to pull the house out of the background and turn it from a passive, silent observer into an active, flexible character of its own that plays a role in shaping and narrating the story. When we look at the architecture of traditional Iranian houses, we see a gradual transition from the rush of outside world to the inner peace of interior yards and halls. Now, set design, by disrupting this order and archetype, can build images alongside the words of the screenplay and be a part of the cinematic narrative. Each of the spaces in Iranian architecture can have a part of the story in themselves. From the intricate basements that are symbols of captivity and suppression, to staircases that are passages between the past and the future, or the reality and the realm of dreams. set design in Iran, for which studio cinema is a strange phenomenon, gained a film town 40 years ago built to the image of old Tehran, thanks to Ali Hatami, who was preoccupied by historical cinema. Although this film town was built in a desert on the outskirts of Tehran, but it was actually made on the solid foundation of Hatami's vision. These historically accurate sets turned into a portal leading to parallel universes of the past. The importance of Hatami's work was in giving courage to set designers to build and create, valuing research work to display the image of what once was Tehran. Now, 4 decades after the construction of the film town, and of course the technical progress of set designers, and the connection of Iranian cinema to the major currents of world cinema, set design work has also expanded and has gone beyond the closed framework of location selection and space decoration. Iranian set designers, inspired by their heritage, strive to leverage all the contemporary tools available to bring their creative concepts to life. They achieve this by delivering meticulously planned concept designs, sketches, color palettes, etc., to shape the visual identities of films. Set designers then translate the director's vision into reality, aligning it with the film's narrative structure. This detailed process aims to present a unified and authentic portrayal of the story's world to the audience. This is a never-ending journey. Iranian cinema and its set designers shall continue on this path, keeping an open mind and willing to explore new horizons, because it is believed since the ancient times that the purpose of the light is to shine eternally.